Unless you think I should.
Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I'm your host, Glaster Crossfield, and today we are joined by the lovely Jennelle G. Please introduce yourself.
Thank y'all for having me. New York's one of my favorite places, Manhattan on the planet. Super fun. So my name's Jennelle Gordon. I'm a tantric intimacy sexpert, which just means through one-on-one elite coaching, group masterminds, and luxury retreats, I help men and women to shake sexual shame that's been hindering them in their lives and their relationships, and anything that's really been keeping them from having lasting, passionate, orgasmic relationships. So that's what I do.
What do you think is the most common reason that coincides with sexual sin?
Oh yeah, I was literally talking about this. This is like the theme today on podcast I was on earlier today. Yeah, sexual shame is for me, I think is hugely correlated with religion. Religion and right, religious dogma that was fed to some of us forcefully as children. Some of us, we were cool with it. Um, and so just religious dogma and pressure from um, the faith, Christian, whether it was Christian, Catholic, whatever it was, to uphold some kind of, um, crazy standards about things that you're not allowed to do with your body. So I think most of the shame really stems from there. And people, we were impressionable minds, and our minds were really shaped by religion. And most people have some kind of faith-based upbringing,
Mhm.
and so that's it. It sits with them, and it's something that you learn your whole life. Like, you don't talk about sex. Sex is sending you to hell. Sex only before marriage. Sex with a woman and man only. Like all these things that we hear, and then that just becomes a part of like our association of what sex should be and what it shouldn't be. And so we take that on. That shame is real. It lives in the body, and then from there, there's a myriad of things that can go wrong.
Mhm.
But that's how most people, develop shame, I think. Or it could be they've had some kind of sexual trauma or abuse, and then they take on that shame as well.
Did you grow up conservative yourself, like in a conservative household?
I did. I grew up in an extreme religious, what I like to say, like Christian fundamental cult, like Mormon, that type of vibe, like,
Mormon,
you
wow.
know, it wasn't Mormonism, but it was that type of vibe of like being ostracized from the rest of the world, you know,
Mm.
skirts down to our ankles, that type of whole vibe. No television, no media, no going to restaurants because there was outside influences. Um, so
Oh.
very sexually, like very repressed, period, from the world, but then even more sexually repressed.
So how did you exit that or escape that?
Um, well, unfortunately, in life, you know, when you try to escape, you never really escape. You just land somewhere else where you are with
Mm.
a like a new set of circumstances that often just mirror the beliefs that you have about your life. So people always think, "Oh, I'm going to leave this relationship. It's going to be so much better and I'm going to find a partner who does this and this and this." But really, like, wherever you go, there you are. You take yourself there. So your same patterns and triggers and things just manifest, maybe just in a different person in a different way. Yeah. So for me, I ended up leaving home at the age of 18, but I couldn't have left earlier. That's kind of a long story because I was like a ward of the state. Um, and so I ended up getting caught up in the life. I was in the adult entertainment world, just strip clubs in Vegas, and I had a pimp. I got trafficked. I couldn't get out of that cycle. And so it took me about, it was like 10 years on and off of like getting in, getting out, trying to figure it out and getting back into life, that whole thing, as you often hear. Um, and then finally, faking my own death, moving to Thailand, studying Tantra. And yeah, I have a TED talk that's coming out
What?
really.
You say you have a TED Talk coming up?
TEDx, but yeah, should be out in the next, like probably around Christmas, I'm thinking, or New Year's. Yeah.
Oh my god. Have you written a book yet?
I have. I've written two. One I'm not publishing yet because um it more correlates with the TEDx talk, but the one I am publishing that's coming out soon is it's a relationship book. So yeah, that one I'm really excited about.
No autobiography.
Not yet, like this, I mean, I wrote, so the Unfuck Your Sex Life is Unleashing Passion and Intimacy for an Orgasmic Relationship. That's relationship book. I'm super excited about that. And then the one before that is The 8 Faces of Freedom. That's really about my life after I got out and what I did, how I got kind of to where I am now, even though I wrote it a few years ago. So much has happened since then. But I haven't done an autobiography yet just because I don't really like focusing on that part of my life,
Mm.
Like I do so much more and I want people to kind of see me for like what I do now and like the value that I add to the world now and like my power and how I just help heal and save people's relationships. That's more fascinating to me.
The autobiography is coming though later on.
I'm sure probably when I hit a certain level of success and then I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Like I don't care now, but I have a son too, so I always think about that
Mm.
stuff.
Okay,
I'm sure at some point it will. I'm probably with a movie and all that too.
nice. So
Yeah.
you talked about the shame and religion, and that's a kind of a common theme. But we both grew up Christian, so we
Mhm.
understand where you're coming from to a certain degree. But
Yeah.
what would you recommend for someone who is religious, who wants to stay religious, but
Yeah.
still feels that shame when it comes to sex, but they don't necessarily want to disband their religion?
Yeah, I think that the first thing, hold on one second, guys. I'm having issues here with my cords and lighting it off in the sun. Ah, okay. Where's the man when you need him? Yeah, I think the first thing with that is like religion gets a lot of people into trouble. Anytime you focus on religion as like an organized institution, like, and when you think of the word institution, what's the first thing that comes to mind? It's like something like, for every institutionalized, like when you say you've been institutionalized, like that type of thinking, it's like you don't want to think about that's maybe not the effect that you want to be associated with your faith. So I think religion is like the main part of like where we have to rewrite that terminology. Like religion is something that's so like religious and there's just this energy because every word, every sound, every frequency or every thought has a frequency, has a vibration. When you hear the word religion, you're like, hmm. It's like heavy, right? So I
Mm.
think the first
Okay.
thing we have to do is like redefine our words. Words are powerful, like your faith. I like that. Like if you want to stay connected to your faith, because remember, religion was just an institution that was created to control people. And I think we're controlled enough today. COVID, hello. Like there's enough control going on. So it's like I think we had to rewrite that um like association to people's choice and how what they believe or who they choose to like have a spiritual connection with. And so I think just reframing even the verbiage that we use around that religion and things is a great place to start. But like if you want to stay connected to your faith and you want to have a biblical foundation for your life, I think that the first thing you have to realize, it's interesting, I swear it's like the same podcast over, but like you have to realize that we were brought to this earth in human form. I'm looking at both of you and you're both human. I don't see a spirit, even though you are spirit. I see a physical body. So we're born into this life in human form with human anatomy, with human sexual genitalia. In Sanskrit, we call penis lingam, we call vagina yoni. And so it's like we were both, all three of us were brought into this world as humans with sexual anatomy, sexual urges and desires to like enjoy that process, to enjoy that experience of having sex with someone. Like that is a good thing. And I think that that's the first thing that you have to kind of comprehend is like God could have brought us here as spirit, right? It says in the Bible, the word became flesh. Like we could have come in like he did, straight up just energy, spirit. But no, he chose to bring us into flesh, into human form, right? Which means that we came for the experience of being a human and to experience, you know, um, all the, like he says in the Bible, like, I come so that you may have life and life more abundantly. He didn't call us to live a life without experience, right? So I think that's the first thing people have to wrap their head around is like, we're humans, dude. We didn't come into this life without urges, without desires, without anatomy. If we weren't supposed to have sex, we would have come in as spirit. So it's like, you have to start like, that's why the book's called Unfuck Your Sex Life. You have to start unfucking the fuckery that's been, played in your brain, that there's something wrong. You have to think, just take this concept for a moment. If everyone in the world, in the planet, 8 billion people, right? Around 8 billion? Is it something in that range? I think 8 billion humans around the world actually thought about sex in a conscious way. Like, oh, sex is like, it's a good thing. Wow, it's something like I want to do a lot, but it's something that I need to do in a way that's like sacred and responsible, and like I can use this sexual energy for something good, like healing, like prayer, like all these things you can do when you master sexual energy. If the planet thought about sex like that, we wouldn't have issues like pedophilia, human trafficking, porn, all the shit we have. The only reason we have that kind of those issues is because the entire 8 billion people, or let's just say 7 billion people, think about sex in a negative light. We think about it with shame. There's like, I can't, did you masturbate in public the first time, or did you masturbate and run out and tell your parents and your friends, hey, I just masturbated for the first time? No, you masturbated and you were like, shit, is the door locked? Am I being quiet enough? How do I dispose of this sock? Like this is the vibe. You have to understand, like, this is real. People don't think like thoughts equal energy, but they do. They've calibrated thoughts and words and feelings with energy. So we are fucking the planet up by subscribing to shame. And if we can, I'm not saying like everyone's sexual history and preference and like participation is going to be the same. If you're more faith-based, you're probably going to maybe attempt to wait to marriage. Like, I think people still do that. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's in some places they do. But I also don't really agree with that. I think that's detrimental for relationships. I have so many clients that have proved that that's how it goes. Because you're talking about like a man making a woman wait. They're courting for years. They get married, and then they have sex for the first time. The woman's already not interested in sex because religion has conditioned her to not have sex till she's married. What happens when people get married? They have less sex than they have when they are married. The studies have shown that, right? You know this, you're nodding your head. So now you've waited 2 years during courting, you haven't had sex, then you get married. It's like good for the guy. He's like, fuck, thank God, finally, shit, like, and then the woman's like, I'm over it. Or they're not sexually compatible.
Ooh.
And then you're stuck. How many times have you gone on a date with a woman, you had sex, and you're like, no disrespect, like you paid for a dinner and you probably don't date her anymore. There's nothing wrong with her per se. You guys just don't fit sexually.
Interesting.
And I know people don't like that concept because they think, oh, you need to wait and it's a good thing. I'm not for like high body count either for women. However, I don't think it's feasible anymore. I think the world has changed too much.
Being an expert in the intimacy field, what would you say is the key to a female orgasm?
Yeah, this is a really good topic too. Your female listeners are gonna love this one. The key to a good female orgasm is, first of all, not having any shame in the body. It's like crucial. Women can't orgasm because they feel some type of way about their body. I know women who are like, I just don't look down there. I just like do my thing and just go about my day. I try not to pay much attention to it except for when I go to the gyno once a year. And what do you go to the gyno every year? Like, fingers crossed, I hope I don't get anything, like, you have that like kind of nervous, like, I don't know, some shit's going on down there. Like, that's energy, man. That's like, and eventually what happens? 3-4 more pap smears, ding, ding, ding. You have something in your uterus. You have some kind of polyp, some kind, some kind of cyst, mass, blah, blah, blah. That's just energy. Energy that's actually transmuted into the physical. It's expressed itself as something physical. Because remember, the mind and the body, the mind expresses that, the body expresses rather that with the mind and the emotions hold. So shame is held for decades, then it finally expresses in the form of some kind of illness. And then when we're like, I wonder how that happened. Really? Really? So to have orgasm, first of all, has to have a connection to your body that excludes shame. Like it's just not on the menu. And then you have to have a knowledge and an understanding of how your own body works. Like you have to know thyself, right? Like know thyself, like for real. But women don't know their body. But then they expect a man to know the body. It's like, how's that make you want a man to make you orgasm, but you can't even orgasm? That's not fair. It's your body.
That's very interesting because I remember one time I spoke to a woman and she said it's a woman's responsibility to make sure that she comes in the bedroom. And I found that very interesting because I would always assume that it would be the man.
No, it's her responsibility to make herself orgasm and know her body to the point to where she knows how to be able to reach that point, or to guide her partner into helping her reach that point.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not the man's responsibility. Like you're not in my body. Like last I checked. I mean, not even in that regards. Like we're a second. Like I have my own body. How do you like? It's not like you guys. Like yes, sex is a dual relationship and energy exchange, but you guys masturbated a lot to experience how you can orgasm, right? A lot. Men, like a lot. We know this. We don't need to get into the details. But yeah, so you've explored your body. Women haven't done it. But then they want these life-shattering orgasms. And then this brings me to my last point. Like, we have to stop using vibrators. Vibrators are a detriment to the body. Like, you're literally like, women are so cruel to men. It's like, you need to make me orgasm. I can't make myself orgasm. But in the meantime, I'm going to use a device that turns 365 degrees in 2.5 seconds with 365 horsepower. And then I'm going to come have sex with you next week and can be like, why can't you make me fucking come? Seriously. Like, it's like, why are you even like, we're setting men up for failure. How can we like, seriously, like, how can we even, you can't compare the two. It's not comparable. So women are desensitizing their yonis by putting these stuff up inside them that moves and vibrates and shakes and does all kinds of crazy stuff. And then you guys are like, I don't stand a chance. Seriously? Like, like I might as well not even try. I might as well just get mine like I've always done and go about my day.
He agrees. Oh, what would you say is some of the things that a man can do, a key to helping a woman get there? Because it seems as though you mentioned a lot of what the woman can do, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things a man can do in the bedroom to help a woman reach orgasm?
Well, last longer than 5 minutes. You know, the average man lasts 5 to 7 minutes.
Wait, so how long do you think it should take a man to orgasm, to help a girl orgasm?
Well, studies show men, it's 5 to 7 minutes that they're climaxing, reaching ejaculation, orgasm, as y'all know it. And then women is taking 20 to 40 minutes. So there's a long period of there's a gap there. And
that includes foreplay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we good there.
Okay.
That includes foreplay? No, that's
40 minutes of strokes?
Women take longer to orgasm. They just do.
That's not intense. I gotta drink some honey.
You gotta get that bee pollen in. Bee pollen and sea moss, y'all. Those are some things men can do.
Or
practice semen retention.
See, interesting. Well, what are your thoughts on semen retention? Me and him sometimes we go through streaks of that stuff. But what are your thoughts and what do you think the benefits of that is?
Oh, they're like, you have to watch some of my content to get a lot. I just did a thing with Austin Dunham on see like the benefits of some of this stuff too. But like semen retention, number one benefit you're going to see is that you last longer. You last longer when you actually do engage
You
in
think
sex.
so?
Yeah.
But if I go 30 days without ejaculation, the first wouldn't it be very quick the first time I'm with a woman?
Well, you're talking about 30 days. I'm talking about semen retention as like as a lifestyle, as where
Oh,
this is not like, see,
Okay.
people have made semen retention into a fad, like getting a different fade or getting your dreads twisted differently or bunning them or whatever, guys do with the dreads. Like, it's not a fade. This is like a lifestyle. So if you go first, you go 90 days, you're going to have so much like what we call like Vera, which is like discipline. It's like, and you're doing your strokes and you're training. Like, men train their body in the gym every day, but they don't think it's necessary to train their lingam every day. And I don't mean by having sex, I mean by training with specific strokes and specific things that you're doing so that you do build more vital energy, and that you have, it's like, as I always say to guys, it's like for teams that go to the Super Bowl, they made it that far, they go to the Super Bowl. Do they, like, once they know they're going to the Super Bowl, do they just sit out and not practice and not watch film
No.
and then just show up on Super Bowl day and be like, fuck it, let's see what happens, I should be good? No, they're fucking they're watching tapes, of themselves, which is probably the worst thing, like to see where you fuck up. I know I do when I'm speaking, I'm like, just like, oh, I said that word wrong, I did this. Like, it's, so they're watching tapes, but then they're also training on the field. They're running plays, offensive, defensive. Then they're also strengthening and conditioning their body every day. That's exclusive from what they're doing on the field, right? Like, I dated an NFL player. I know how this shit goes. It's serious. So it's the same thing with your lingam. It's like, if you don't train your lingam for success when you get into the game, meaning you get into the side of yoni, like, you're gonna for sure fuck up. You're gonna ejaculate. So if you're training, like, you go first 90 days and another 6 months, that's now embedded in your body, and there's no way you're not going to ejaculate like easy. No way. It's going to take a lot because you've disciplined, you've created a muscle.
So 9 months semen retention would lead to more stamina.
Oh, 1000%. That leads to mastery of sexual energy. Like, my teachers and my colleagues who are tantric practitioners or masters, they don't ejaculate like anymore, period. Now, I'm not saying most men aren't going to follow that protocol, but
Right.
if you want to last longer, and if you want to master your sexual energy so that you can have more energy to do more in this life, then you've got to, like, just think about the concept. Like, I always tell the guys I work with, like, this is your biggest flex, right? I don't know. Are you guys in your 20s, mid 20s?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. My business partner, my guys, same age. They're like 25, 26, right? So I always tell them, like, you guys you're acquiring your wealth now. They're both very disciplined, very successful for their age. But I always say, what the biggest flex is? The biggest flex is the fact that you can brag and say, you know what? I've mastered my sexual energy. I'm not a slave to my dick. I'm
Mm.
the master to my dick. I tell my dick what to do, when to come, when not to come. And I'm not, my slave doesn't run me, or my dick doesn't run me. Like, I run that. That's the biggest flex, to say I actually can control my bodily fluids. Yeah, you've got millions in the bank. Oh, can you retain your semen? Oh, you can? Oh, okay. Okay, great. You might have billions in the bank if you could do that, right?
Mm. That's a bar. Interesting.
Yeah.
9 months. That is rather intense. I did 31 days and wanted to scratch my eyes out. So
But were you like moving the energy? What were you doing in that time to like circulate the energy? Because if you don't do anything with the energy, it just builds and it will just continue. It'll be like a pressure cooker, and then eventually
yeah, that's what it was. It was exactly. It was a pressure cooker.
yeah. So you have to do something with that energy. And for the tantrics, we do meditation, we do movement through, like, moving energy through hatha yoga. We do some kind of practice that moves that dissipates that energy. Otherwise it just stays and builds and builds, and You're correct. Then you just explode.
Um,
So there has to be a spiritual practice with that semen retention, which is what they don't teach you on YouTube.
got you. So I was doing it wrong. No wonder. That was very, very difficult for me.
Well, I'm proud of you for going 31 days. It's huge. Most
Yeah.
guys can't go one out 5 minutes, let alone 31 days.
That's crazy.
Interesting. All right. So,
So,
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So to
Mm.
sum it up,
I
men,
was
you
just
want to make
curious
women.
what you did, how you got into that.
Say that again.
I was curious how you got into that.
The 31 days.
Yeah, like what prompted you to try semen retention?
Well, I've always dabbled and dabbled. I've gone like a week. I've gone like 2 weeks, but I
Yeah.
never, fully committed to the challenge. So I wanted to really do it this time around, and that was very intense. Yeah, I did not know about this the meditation stuff. That would
Yeah.
have definitely helped because I was.
So we do like deep breath work, deep meditation, deep traditional like certain poses, yoga poses that move and circulate energy to help move that energy, because otherwise it just stays trapped there and you're like yeah, you're right. If you do have sex after that, then you will like it'll be over and before it starts, 1 minute in, you're gone.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
We just have to have these conversations around it.
What about like going to the gym and lifting weights? Because I find that going, like, especially lifting weights, boosts testosterone, and it makes you want it even more. Honestly.
Yeah, boost, like going to the gym is going to build more testosterone if you have low testosterone or you don't have sex drive and stuff like that. The going to the gym is definitely going to help, but you're right, it's going to make it more challenging because you will have more of a sexual drive. So like in my practice and in my school, and what my colleagues did is they were doing things to diminish that sexual urge. So they were eating different certain foods that were bland, that didn't give the body that sexual energy, because every food, everything you do has a kind of connection to this process. So like from what you listen to what you eat to everything. So yeah, going to the gym on that might for some people it might help them because it just helps them move energy, and so they don't feel like they're so stagnant. But for other people it could be detrimental, because you're right, it's just increasing your testosterone, which is your sex drive, and then you want to have more sex. And that can be problematic. But it's not, semen retention is not about not having sex, it's just about not having sex, or rather it's about having sex and not ejaculating. So people think semen retention is just abstaining from masturbating and having sex, but that's just abstinence. That's just a form of abstinence. That's not semen retention. Semen retention is engaging in sex and sexual activity, but not ejaculating. And that's the difference. So like if you've ever fasted, it's like an interesting experience. Like your body's like, you tell your body you're not going to eat, and your body's like, I need food. Even though you can live, some of us can live longer than others without food, right? Like we've got a little extra, but for most people, you can go a few days without food. Water, not quite as many, right? Or you definitely need water. But some people would do just water fast and they won't eat for a period of time. Now, everyone who's ever done this kind of fast knows that the hardest part is the first 3 days. It's like if you can get past the first 3 days, then you're good. Then you're like, okay.
Yep.
Then you don't like, you can see food and you're like, oh. But like if you're on a diet that is like, okay, you can only eat buckwheat but nothing else. Like I've done these types of diets before at my school where you can only freaking eat buckwheat for 10 days. Every time you see food, you're just like, I would kill for a mango. This is when I was in Thailand. A coconut, fried rice, curry, mango, like anything other than damn buckwheat. And you're getting food. You're eating buckwheat every day. That is way harder than just saying, nope, no food at all. I'm just locked and loaded. So that's how it is with sex and semen retention. To just say cold turkey, I'm not going to have sex, it's hard. But once you get over that hump, you're like, I'm fine. I don't need it. But to actually engage in sex and masturbation and then say, I'm going to do all that without ejaculating, that part is the challenge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe take one of you trying to do one of these challenges in 2023, bro?
Yeah, you can do it.
Maybe not
He's
9
I don't know. I don't feel so confident about him.
months.
Like, I think I should. I want to do a challenge because I'll actually tell guys how to do it the right way. Like all these other ones are like, they're not set. They're not giving you guys all the tools you need to be successful. I'm gonna do one on my page. Maybe I'll do like, I'm in Europe in January. Yeah, maybe I start it in January.
I don't know. I have a bit of a problem.
You have a bit of a
Like,
problem. I love how he says it, like a bit. What to define a bit of a problem?
um, I think when I go like a certain period of time without any type of like sexual intercourse or anything sexual, like my body tends to react. Like I tell him all the time, like I
Spirit.
think it's you said what?
Spirit.
Relax, relax, not chill. Like I tell him like the amount of wet dreams I have when I go without it is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
You know what
very
I'm saying?
normal. You can adjust all that with certain diet and a lot of other things. You can definitely
That's
adjust.
good too. Help.
Yeah. I
What?
mean, all of that is normal. It's totally normal to experience that. Some people more than others. It's just composition, body composition, a lot of things factor into that. Um,
So what if you're a nymph?
hmm?
What if you're a nymph?
A nymph.
What is
Oh,
it? Nympho?
you have too much sex? Well, that's just the sign that you do need some training around sexual mastery because a nymph is someone who is addicted to having sex because it's fulfilling three of their basic human needs. And so now it's a habit. It's an addiction, more than a habit, it's an addiction because this activity is meeting three of your basic human needs, and human beings will kill themselves doing something as long as it's meeting their basic human needs. So them being a nymph is just a sign that you're unbalanced in a light, that you're using this one thing to meet to it's unmet needs. Basically, it's not sex, it's
Mm-hmm.
just that's what you're using to get those needs met. So the need for certainty, you're always going to orgasm or ejaculate. The need for uncertainty, it might be with a different girl every time. The need to feel significant, you want to know that, yeah, I don't know, you laid it down the best, you laid pipe better than anyone else you've been with. Or it could be connection, you really just are craving love and intimacy. And so like it could be any of those. And if three of them are connected to something you're doing, it's just an addiction. And in order to break that addiction, there has to be leverage that's greater than the need to keep the addiction in your life. So that's very simple, but even more of a reason why you should address the sexual mastery, because right now that the addiction's running you, you're not running your life. And as a man, you want to have control. Like the qualities of like top G Shiva is like presence. You're present in your body. If you're present in your body, it means like you're in control of your body. Most men aren't they're not in control of their thoughts for the day, like let alone controlling their actual body and their bodily fluids, right? So these are qualities men have to foster if they want to have this like top G lifestyle that they see. You gotta just control your body, man. Like have a mastery of your body. That's why we say if you master your sexual energy, nobody can tell you shit. It's like a next level. Like people say body mastery, like if I get that 8-pack, blah, blah, blah. This is like another level of that.
Maybe one day we bust out a 60-day challenge next year, bro. I think we can do 60. That's kind of crazy. Uh,
It
maybe
is.
maybe 30. Take a week off and then another 30.
Take a week off, fuck it all up, and then go again,
Right.
go again.
60 is because 30, 31 was really intense for me. But moving forward, what are some of the issues that people have with you?
I'm so sorry. No one has ever asked me that question. That's maybe my favorite question so far. I'm sorry for the response. I was like,
That's a
oh
great one.
wow, this is good. Oh wow, where do we begin?
All right.
This is a good one. Okay, so people have so many issues with me. I think the main issue they have is that they feel people feel triggered. They feel like I'm attacking them because my beliefs are so out there, so against the grain, and then they don't like that because, like, for instance, my recent post was like single mom raised beta males, like
Mhm.
Yes,
they
it's true.
went for me hard,
Yeah, some
like,
people do not like that.
oh no. And I actually got pushback from guys too. I was kind of shocked, but
Beta
yeah.
males.
Huh? They're
Beta
exactly,
males.
or omegas or all of those. um I think that the so, like, it's posts like that, it's like triggering because well, you have to think about it. If you tell me you're overweight, you're 250 pounds, I'm gonna be like, okay, you're blind, obviously, right? Because, like, we can tell I'm not, like,
Mhm.
I would just, like, I probably wouldn't even say anything to you because it's so not the truth, right? You're not moved. If someone tells you something that's a lie about yourself, you'll just be like, that's kind of funny because it's so far from the truth, right? So when people get mad at me and write these heinous comments about me or my work or my son, it's because I'm hitting them and it hurts. Does that make
Talk about
sense?
your family?
Huh?
You talk about your family?
Yeah, they made some comments
Bro, you
about
don't
my
have
son.
them
They
dogs,
said
bro.
he was going to end up in jail and stuff. I was like, okay. And the fact that I had him around male mentors and stuff. So I think people's biggest problem with me is that I speak the harsh truth. And a lot of times they know it's true. For instance, when I say that women hit the wall and that if a man cheats on you and he's high value, you should probably stick around because it's not greener out
Absolutely.
there. They don't like that because they feel hurt, like their ego gets wounded because women want to feel like we're entitled to fidelity and to all these things that women are so entitled today. They
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
the world just like they deserve the world, right? You agree?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I shatter women's dream in 30 seconds with my posts. And then they come for me hard because then they want to, I've had too much work done. I'm alone. I'm this, I'm that, whatever they want to say about me. I'm like, say whatever you want, boo. But what I say still stands as truth. You're still over expecting and under fucking delivering. Like, that's the truth. Women come to you with OnlyFans, ass and titties hanging out everywhere, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. Great body. Guys love to tap on it. Oh yeah, great.
Mhm.
Then you're mad when you don't get wiped up, or if a guy doesn't take you seriously because you're not marriage material. What are you bringing to him? An Instagram full of ass pictures? Like, do you think he really wants to take that home to mom? He might want to hit it, but does he really want to, like, you know? Or like these women that go the other way that are like sort of prude and like, I'm not giving it up ever, but a man should be loyal to me, but I'm not fucking him. So you're not
Rubbish.
fucking him. He can't fuck other women. So you're basically, you're now calling the shots. So now you're the man, but you want him to pay the bills and be faithful to
Mm-hmm.
you, but you're not willing to fuck him.
Mhm. That does sound a little crazy when you map it out like that.
I mean, but that is what women are expecting. I'm a queen. I'm an independent woman. I make six figures. I don't need a man, like the lady on the podcast I just did, the purple pill. Did you guys watch that one where she got up and left?
Yeah, I saw some clips.
She was like, I make like whatever, she made multiple six figures, maybe more, I don't know. And she was like the whole time was like the whole show. Like, and then he called her on it. He's like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I didn't know I was going to be on a show where they're talking about titties and sucking dick. It's like, how did you're a CEO, but you can't be a CEO of your own life. You don't know what show you're going to be appearing on. Like, first of all, that didn't make sense to me. And
Yeah.
then second of all, she was like, I don't need a man. I'm not putting out. I make so much money. I have my eggs frozen. I'm not, let's like, why, what guy would
How old
want
was she?
35?
He's finished. It's over. Even if you freeze your eggs.
But the thing is, like, she'd have a chance if she didn't have that attitude. The attitude is what fucks her.
Yeah.
There is guys out there that would say, okay, she's got her shit together. If she'll quit for me and take care of the kids, and like, you know what I mean? Like, there are some men that see. I disagree with the red pill on this. The red pill thinks everyone wants 20-year-old virgins, and that's bullshit. Maybe it depends on what demographic you're in, but I know men who actually prefer women who are a little more mature because their emotions and shit is more intact. They like can control their hormones. They know, they've had more sexual experience. So I don't think that those women, there's like, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that there's all hope is lost for women like that. With that attitude, yes. And if they're not willing to, like, for me, if you're a woman and you're over 30 and you're not willing to give up your career for a man, yeah, you're finished.
Oh, please.
Right? Right? If you're willing, like, if a man comes by, and I say this all the time, like, I date younger guys, but if he was like, hey, well, I make more money than them right now, so it's like they don't want me to quit nothing. Like, my ex is like, I don't want you to quit. God, you make more money than me. It's like, if we get married, like, it's like, I want your income and mine until I get to where I can take care of you, and then you can do it part-time or whatever, we live in a world where sometimes you need two incomes. Well, actually often, right?
Vast majority of the time, yes.
Vast majority of the time. But a man wants a woman who ideally is working for him in a family business so that she's not or surrendering to another man. Because why the fuck you don't listen to me, but that you go to work and you do whatever the fuck your boss tells you to do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
What? So I like to talk about a little more different red pill stuff where I'm like, I don't think those women, there's not lost hope. Just because you hit that wall doesn't mean that there's hope, but there's hope there is no hope if you have that mentality and you're not willing to give up your career for your husband. But most women won't do that. They want to remain control, right? Which is why they won't orgasm, because in orgasm you have to fully surrender.
That's a bar right there. That's a bar right there. Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women feel like the freezing your eggs thing is a get out of jail free card. They really think freezing your eggs. You talk to a lot of men. Most men want a natural pregnancy. Most men don't.
I think they do. I think there's all now. I always say, but people get mad at me because they're like, Jennelle, you live in Newport Beach. You are living in a world that's not really real, right? Most people around here in these parts, is very common for women to freeze their eggs because you have to understand there's so much wealth here. Orange County is the 7th wealthiest area on the planet. What do you think that means? These men are not marrying until they are, maybe 40s or so, or maybe even 50s, these men, 60s. And so they might get a woman who's late 30s, 40s, like me, right? That needs to maybe have some help with in vitro, perhaps. That's very common here. Very fucking common. Women having kids in their 40s, I see it all the time. Why? Because they have resources to do so, right? And it could be a second marriage too for this guy, right? He's already had first marriage with wife while he was building and growing. She got a nice little settlement. Those kids are good, but he's ready now. He's 60, but he's worth millions, billions, and he wants a wife, maybe not in her 20s. Like I told you, a lot of guys around here want women who are a little more mature because they have so much money. So they want maybe 30s in that range. They're just more experienced. They've traveled, whatever. So they might get a 30, 40-year-old wife. She might not be able to do it naturally. But again, that's only certain demographics that can have that kind of. So if you're talking about the world or America as a whole, that probably doesn't apply to everyone. So the freezing your eggs card, I think, is more played because women really know that they're going to end up alone. They know that a man isn't going to pick them because they're not willing to submit and surrender and give up their career, give up control, or be the woman. They want to be the man. So I think subconsciously freezing the eggs, they're like, shit, I'm going to be alone. So let me just freeze these in case I get bored of the cats and the dildos and I want to have a kid, but I'm probably going to do it alone. I think women really know that. Like a little bit in their subconscious.
Interesting.
Were you always like this? Like, did you always have this ideology? Or did you learn it? Is this something your parents taught you, or you picked up along the way?
No, no, no. Okay, so I joined red, like I don't even consider myself red pill. I have a lot of red pill ideology, but I also think vastly different about the red pill. I don't agree with some of the red pill like at all. And I really stand against it. Like I'm like, nope, that's not how I think at all. But I happen to like fall into a lot of red pill stuff. It's weird because Tantra is really the path of um masculine and feminine polarity of it being balanced. But we look at Shiva, which is like divine masculine consciousness, as God. So that's how we treat our men. We treat them as God. Like we worship them, we bow down to them, we serve them, we surrender to them, we do all those things.
Talk to me nice.
That's like my
He loves
religion.
that.
Talk to me nice.
He loves that.
So
Talk to me nice.
my ex was talking to me last night, and we still like, I don't know, like like Donovan Sharp's always like, oh yeah, he feels like there's still hope for us. I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, so he was like, you know what I realized about you, Jennelle? He's 26, by the way. He's like, I realized that like I've met other girls, and he's like, they do shit for me, but he's like, nobody takes care of me the way you do. And he goes, even the ones that like do stuff similar to you, he's like, it's different. He's like, it's like you like really want to do it. You like take joy and pride in doing it. And he's like, I feel that. I'm like, yeah, it's my religion. So it's a different. So I didn't always think this way. Tantra happens to be parallel with a lot of red pill philosophy. However, Tantra also worships the divine feminine, which is something red pill doesn't do. But the divine feminine, meaning a feminine woman who's surrendered, submissive, soft, and is nurturing, and shows up and serves her husband or partner and takes his will as her will and follows him. Women don't do that. Are you kidding?
Interesting.
You
So
can't even get them to agree. Like I don't know. I honestly feel sad for men today. I think that you guys have a shit time dealing with women today. The women today
Indeed.
are freaking like nightmares. If I was a guy, I don't know what I would do. I would probably just like, it's sad for me to think what you guys have to deal with on a regular basis.
That's
interesting.
why a lot of men are going overseas. What do you think of that? Of the passport bros and going. And I'm going to Thailand in like a month, and going overseas to
Get
find.
wives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then with that, we talked about that on the show. With who was on the show? EO was on a pod. I was on a podcast with him, and Donovan and someone else, Minister Jap. He's crazy, man. He does not stop talking. But like he's cool, but like Jam, man, like he just needs his. I think he has his own show. Like I don't think he should ever have guests on because he just like talks and talks and talks. But anyway, like everyone's cool, and we were talking about the Asian bride thing, and the problem with that you have is that those women are seeing green card, green card, green card, and green, green, green. So you're getting a woman who is submissive because she wants a green card and she cuts money. And remember, women are products of their own environment. So you're gonna just deal with, you're like basically taking a submissive woman and you're gonna turn her into a monster because she lives in America.
So what if you don't move her to America?
Well, there you go. It might be more successful. However, some men don't want a woman who is like a robot. I talk to a lot of men. They're like, dude, I want a woman who at least is like, can hang with me. If I say no, she says, okay, I'm following your lead. But I don't want like,
Yeah, you don't want a yes woman. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I grew up in Thailand and I did my training in Thailand. I'm more Thai than anything. That's what those women are. But some guys are okay with her. Like, fuck it. She doesn't say anything cool. She cooks for me. She fucks me. I'm in.
I think a lot more men would prefer that compared to the alternative. Like if we're going based on two extremes, I think they would prefer the robot over the.
Absolutely, because I mean we're moving into an era where sex dolls are taking over. They're making life-size versions of like these sex dolls that some of them they talk now. They speak different languages. They remember
That's
your
crazy.
birthday. They can
My
laugh.
birthday.
Yeah, some of them they're programmed to have like emotions, if you will. Oh yeah, and men are settling for that. They're like, hell
Semen
yeah,
retention, right?
huh?
Perfect way for semen retention, I guess.
Stranger things, maybe Stranger Things haven't
That's
happened. I
weird.
don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
Crazy.
whole nother
a
ball
bit
game.
too iRobot for me. That's a bit intense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Creepy. And these guys get like, it's like the ultimate simping.
So where do men where do I find someone like you? Is there you make copies or you have a twin or
I'm gonna
something?
start, I gotta go in 5 minutes, but I'm gonna start a school for women. It's gonna be, Shakti School of Femininity. I just named it. There we go. Because like I'm serious, like guys ask me that all the time. Where do I find a woman like you? I'm like,
Right.
I tell the guys that I'm with now, like my business partner and Shiva, I tell them, I'm like, you don't realize how lucky you are to have me in your life. Like, and I'm not saying that like to my own horn, but I just tell them like they don't make women like me. Like they call me the female Andrew Tate. Like because I preach this stuff. And to answer your question, dear, that's why they don't like me.
Mm.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just
Love
gonna
that
keep
you think.
creating content. I am gonna create a little program, like a little mini school, and I take women through and I just train them.
How
Because
about
we gotta shift this.
how about you train them and after like they graduate, you have like a group of men and a group of women and then they
Yeah.
meet somewhere in the middle, like a matchmaker type.
Well, people ask me that too. Do you have matchmaking? Well, at my retreats, they're like, "Are you?" So I'm showing up. I'm a single, and who do you have for me? I'm like, dude, I'm not fucking matchmaking. They are like, I'm ready to book, and I just want to know who you're hooking me up with on the retreat. I'm like, dude, I am not a madam. I am not a matchmaker. You guys just show up, and if you meet someone, you have a connection, great. But no, I've considered that as well. I think it would be fascinating to have like a school of women who have been trained, who've gone through the protocol, who understand, and who are ready to find. They really want marriage. They really want partners. They want to be submissive. Yeah, I'm down for it.
The retreat is for both men and women.
Men and women, singles and couples. Yeah.
When is this?
Valentine's Day in the DR and September 1st through the 5th in the Maldives.
Talk to me nice.
Oh, these. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Jennelle, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
I'll
for
be seeing you.
Yes, you guys are awesome. I appreciate I was like feeling tired at the beginning, but you guys gave me energy and I woke up.
See, we
I appreciate
awakened the inner spirit, didn't we? Or whatever.
You did. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate y'all. Yeah, if you can send me like if I send you my editor's email, if you can send me a copy of this too, I'll like cut it up too. I'll have my team cut it up.
Got you.